Have you ever had a dream that felt so vivid and real that you wondered if it was more than just a fragment of your subconscious mind? Dreams can be strange, sometimes filled with bizarre scenarios or unsettling imagery, but for one Japanese woman, her dreams went beyond the ordinary. They became a window into the future, a future that, in some cases, came true in ways that no one could have predicted. In 1999, a quiet, unassuming comic book was released in Japan. It wasn't anything extravagant, no flashy colors or big-name artist behind it. It was simply called The Future I Saw, a title that seemed almost too understated for something that would soon capture the attention of an entire nation. The book featured 15 dreams, all illustrated in simple pencil sketches. These weren't fantastical dreams filled with magic or mythical creatures. Instead, they depicted very real, almost mundane scenes that seemed completely out of place, until years later they began to unfold in the real world. It wasn't until March 2011 that this quiet, unassuming manga started to make waves. That's when Japan was struck by one of the most devastating natural disasters in recent history, the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. Over 15,000 people lost their lives, and entire cities were washed away by the relentless waves of the ocean. It was a tragedy that left the entire world in shock, and amidst the chaos, something strange happened. A person remembered the book The Future I Saw and, in a chilling twist, discovered that one of its dreams had eerily mirrored the disaster. In one of the sketches, the artist had depicted a scene almost identical to the tsunami. Waves crashing through the streets, flooding cities, and strange numbers like 311 scribbled on the cover. The coincidence was so uncanny that it left many questioning whether this was just a freak accident or if something deeper was at play. Could these dreams truly be a glimpse into the future? As the manga gained newfound attention, it became clear that this wasn't the only prophetic dream. In fact, out of the 15 dreams, 12 and a half had already come true. From earthquakes to famous deaths, each dream seemed to play out like a puzzle piece falling into place, proving that these weren't just coincidences. Something far more mysterious was at work. But the biggest question remained: who was behind this book? Who was Tatsuki, the mysterious author who had shared these prophetic visions with the world? No one knew. Tatsuki was an enigma, a name that seemed to exist only in the margins of the book, with no other verifiable information to go on. The publisher's records were non-existent, and for years, Tatsuki remained hidden, even as her book became more and more famous. Some people believed that Tatsuki might not even be an individual, but rather an organization or a product of some greater hidden force. The mystery of her identity only deepened as more and more people started to seek answers. Fast forward to 2023, and something strange happened. Just as the fever surrounding the prophecies began to heat up once again, Tatsuki reappeared. Only this time she didn't stay silent. She re-released The Future I Saw, this time in a much more detailed and comprehensive edition. In it, she revealed more about herself and the dreams that had shaped her life. Tatsuki, as it turned out, was born on December 2nd, 1954, in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, and she lived in the port city of Yokohama. But the most remarkable part of her story wasn't her ordinary upbringing. It was the dreams that had started when she was just 9 years old. From that age, Tatsuki began to see things in her dreams, things that hadn't yet happened. An old man with silver-white hair would appear beside her in these dreams, whispering about future events that would unfold in her life. She would walk with him beneath the moonlit sky, listening to his stories of things yet to come. Some of these dreams were disturbing, others were simply puzzling, but they were always specific, with clear details that would only make sense later. One of the first dreams that unsettled Tatsuki occurred in 1976. On a November night, she dreamed of a man singing on stage, only to suddenly collapse under the bright lights. The crowd gasped in shock, and Tatsuki knew immediately who the man was. It was Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen. At the time, Freddie was at the height of his career, with his health seemingly perfect. The idea that he would die was Absurd. No one would even consider it. But Tatsuki sketched the dream anyway, documenting it in her journal. 15 years later, in 1991, the world was shaken by the news of Freddie Mercury's death. Tatsuki opened her old journal and found the drawing she had made all those years ago. The sense of dread and fear she felt in that moment was overwhelming because it was the first time she realized that her dreams were not just random visions. They were a form of foresight. It wasn't just Freddie's death either. Tatsuki's dreams began to line up with major global events. The death of Princess Diana, the Kobe earthquake. Each of these moments appeared in her sketches long before they occurred. In the wake of each event, Tatsuki's journal entries seemed to be a chilling premonition of the future. But it was after the 2011 earthquake that things took a more serious turn. Tatsuki couldn't shake the feeling that her dreams weren't just random. There was a message in them, a warning for something much larger on the horizon. And that's where the story takes a darker twist, leading us into the prophecy of 2025. Tatsuki's most recent visions point to an event that is set to take place in the summer of 2025, something far more catastrophic than anything she's predicted before. By now you might be wondering, what's next for Tatsuki and her chilling visions? The 2025 prophecy looms over the horizon, and it's not just an ordinary prediction. Tatsuki's most recent dreams have left her, and many others, staring into the abyss of a potentially world-altering event. In 2021, Tatsuki had a dream so intense that it shook her to her core. This wasn't just another moment of foreseeing future disasters. It felt like a warning, a stark vision of something that she couldn't ignore. In the dream, she found herself standing in a vast field of water under an ash-colored sky. The sea to the south of Japan began to churn, bubbles rising from beneath the surface like boiling cauldrons. From the depths emerged two massive dragons, twisting and coiling beneath the ocean's surface. They weren't mythical creatures, but rather powerful symbols of nature's wrath, and as they moved, the ground itself seemed to tremble. Then came the explosion. A massive column of water erupted from the ocean, tearing through the sky in a tsunami of unimaginable proportions. Tatsuki watched in helpless horror as the wave, 3 times larger than the infamous 2011 disaster, surged toward the shore. The devastation it carried with it was beyond comprehension. Vehicles, buildings, and countless people were swept away by the force of the water. In the aftermath, something even stranger began to unfold. A new land emerged from the depths of the sea, rising like a creature awakening from a millennia-long slumber. This was no ordinary dream. Tatsuki understood it as a message, a warning of an impending catastrophe. A new landmass rising from the ocean, and even more terrifying, the date was clear. This wasn't just some vague notion of the future. Tatsuki knew the exact time and date of the event, 5:00 a.m. on July 5, 2025. The implications of this vision were staggering. A new land rising from the ocean, a massive tsunami that could wipe entire cities off the map. And the date, July 5, 2025, it wasn't just a random number. For Tatsuki, this dream marked the culmination of decades of prophetic visions. Her sense of urgency was undeniable. After over 2 decades of silence, she knew she couldn't keep this knowledge to herself any longer. She re-released The Future, I Saw in 2023 with additional details, including this chilling prophecy. But what's even more unsettling is the possibility that this prophecy might not be as far-fetched as it sounds. Could something like this really happen? While it seems like the stuff of science fiction, geologists and experts in the field of tectonic activity have noted that such a scenario, while rare, is not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Japan lies within the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region notorious for its active tectonic plates. This is the area where the Earth's crust is constantly shifting, creating earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and on rare occasions, new land. In fact, in 2013, an underwater volcano off the coast of Japan's Nishinoima Island erupted, creating a small new island. Within months, that island expanded rapidly, eventually merging with the mainland. This event, while minor compared to the scale of Tatsuki's vision, serves as a proof of concept. New land can indeed emerge from the sea under the right circumstances. Similarly, in 2021, an underwater eruption in the Kuril Islands, an area disputed between Japan and Russia, produced yet another unexpected result: a new island. Once again, no one saw it coming, but nature had made its mark. So while the idea of an entire landmass rising from the sea might seem like an extreme leap, the scientific foundation for such an event is rooted in reality. But what about the dragons? Why did Tatsuki include such fantastical imagery in her dream? To understand this, we need to take a closer look at the symbolism of the creatures that appeared beneath the sea. The two dragons coiled together in the depths may not be literal creatures, but rather metaphors for the geological forces at play beneath the ocean. Geologists have pointed out a curious alignment between the location of Tatsuki's dragons and two major tectonic plates, the Philippine Sea Plate and the Pacific Plate. It's at the intersection of these two plates deep beneath the ocean that volcanic eruptions are most likely to occur. The dragons in Tatsuki's vision could very well represent the immense pressure building up beneath the sea's surface, ready to explode into an eruption. Tatsuki's dream wasn't just a metaphorical image, it was a prediction tied to real-world geological activity. And the more we dig into the science of plate tectonics, the more we realize that Tatsuki's vision, while extraordinary, is not entirely impossible. Yet for many, the most chilling part of this prophecy is the date. July 5, 2025 seems far off, but it's also uncomfortably specific. Could Tatsuki have known this exact date decades before it was set to happen? Some might dismiss this as a mere coincidence or a piece of creative fiction. But those who have followed her work closely argue that this is exactly what makes her predictions so disturbing. Over the years, she's shown an uncanny ability to predict major global events, from natural disasters to celebrity deaths, with an accuracy that cannot easily be explained away. The re-release of The Future I Saw has only intensified the debate. Some view it as a warning, a call to action for those who are willing to listen. Others see it as an expression of Tatsuki's own anxiety, a reflection of her deepest fears about the world's future. But the real question is this: if Tatsuki is right, what can we do to prepare for such an event? The answer isn't easy. Most of us don't have the ability to foresee the future, but what we do have is the opportunity to learn from the past and use our understanding of natural processes to better protect ourselves. And while it might seem impossible to prevent a natural disaster on the scale that Tatsuki describes, there are steps we can take to minimize the impact. As we prepare for the future, it's important to remain vigilant and aware, even if the likelihood of such an event is low. But let's step away from the science for a moment and consider the human side of this prophecy. What would it mean for people living in Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines if such a landmass were to emerge from the sea? Would it reshape the geography of the region? Would it create new opportunities, or would it bring with it new challenges? Could this event mark the beginning of a new era, one where humanity must learn to adapt to a world that is constantly shifting beneath our feet? The truth is, no one knows. But as we move closer to 2025, one thing is clear: Tatsuki's vision is impossible to ignore. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, her predictions have sparked a conversation that forces us to confront the unpredictable forces of nature and the fragility of our existence. As we venture deeper into this mystery, it's time to explore the final chapter of Tatsuki's prophetic journey. The 2025 prophecy isn't just a story about ancient dragons or the rise of new land. It's a chilling glimpse into the unknown future, one that could have consequences for millions of people. But the biggest question remains: can we trust her vision? Tatsuki's revelations don't just make us question the future of Japan, they challenge our understanding of what's possible. As we approach July 5, 2025, the day she predicted this cataclysmic event will take place, we're left wondering, could a new landmass really emerge from the ocean? What if Tatsuki's vision isn't just a dream? What if it's a wake-up call? While many are quick to dismiss her prediction as mere superstition, the more we learn about the science behind it, the harder it becomes to ignore. The Pacific Ring of Fire, where Japan sits, is one of the most tectonically active regions on Earth. It's a place where multiple plates of the Earth's crust converge, causing frequent volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and even the formation of new land. Over the years, geologists have observed many instances where underwater volcanoes have given birth to new islands. These events, though rare, are scientifically plausible. Take the example of Nishinoima Island, a small landmass that appeared off the coast of Japan in 2013. This island was the result of an underwater eruption that created new land from the ocean floor. It was a small island, but its formation was proof that the forces of nature are constantly reshaping our world. And it's not just Japan. Similar events have occurred in other parts of the world, such as the Kuril Islands, where a new island was born after an underwater eruption in 2021. Tatsuki's dream of a massive tsunami and the emergence of a new landmass could very well be grounded in these scientific facts. Her depiction of the two dragons may not be literal, but rather a symbolic representation of the tectonic forces at work beneath the sea. In this context, the dragons could represent the massive pressure building up along the fault lines, ready to burst forth in a violent eruption that reshapes the world. However, the most unsettling part of Tatsuki's prophecy is the date, July 5, 2025. This specific date has been etched into her mind for years, and as we approach it, the sense of inevitability grows. But how can she be so sure? Is it possible that she simply guessed the timing? Or could it be that her visions are connected to a deeper understanding of the Earth's geological patterns? One possibility is that Tatsuki's dreams are not just supernatural insights, but a subconscious understanding of natural processes that she's able to tap into. Throughout history, there have been countless instances of people having dreams or visions that seem to predict the future. Some argue that these are just coincidences, while others believe they are messages from a higher power or from the collective, unconscious. Tatsuki's dreams, however, seem to follow a specific pattern, one that aligns with known geological phenomena, making them harder to dismiss as mere chance. But let's step away from the science for a moment and consider the human side of this prophecy. If Tatsuki's vision comes true, what will it mean for the people of Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines? If a new landmass rises from the ocean, it will not only change the geography of the region, but also create massive social and political challenges. Countries and cities that once existed as separate entities could suddenly find themselves connected by land, changing the dynamics of international relations. Furthermore, the destruction caused by the tsunami could displace millions of people, causing widespread devastation. How will humanity respond to such a disaster? Will we be able to adapt and rebuild, or will we find ourselves overwhelmed by the scale of the destruction? Tatsuki's dream suggests that this event will be more than just an end, it will also be a beginning. The new land that rises from the sea will represent a new chapter in human history, one that will challenge us to rethink our relationship with the planet and each other. It will force us to confront the fragility of our existence and our vulnerability to the forces of nature. But even if we accept the possibility that Tatsuki's vision is grounded in reality, there's still the question of preparedness. What can we do to prepare for a disaster of this magnitude? The truth is, no one can fully predict or prevent a natural disaster, but there are steps we can take to mitigate the impact and protect ourselves. Governments and organizations must invest in disaster preparedness, build resilient infrastructure, and educate the public about how to respond in the event of a catastrophe. At the individual level, it's essential to be aware of the risks and to have a plan in place. In coastal areas, where the threat of tsunamis is greatest, people need to know the evacuation routes, have emergency supplies ready, and be prepared to act quickly when disaster strikes. The more we understand the forces at work in the world around us, the better equipped we will be to handle whatever comes our way. But beyond the practical aspects of preparedness, there's a deeper lesson to be learned from Tatsuki's visions. Whether or not her prophecy comes true, her dreams remind us of the uncertainty of the future. No matter how much we plan or how much we believe we understand the world, nature remains unpredictable. We live in a world where the unexpected can happen at any moment, and the best we can do is prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for whatever may come. In the end, Tatsuki's dreams are not just about predicting the future. They're about understanding our place in the world and accepting the fragility of our existence. As we look ahead to 2025 and beyond, we must remember that the future is never set in stone. But if we approach it with awareness, resilience, and a sense of community, we can face whatever challenges lie ahead, no matter how daunting they may seem. So, what do you think? Is there any truth to Tatsuki's visions? Could a new land really rise from the sea in 2025? Or is this just another mysterious story that will fade with time? The future is a mystery we can't fully understand, but if there's one thing Tatsuki's story teaches us, it's that sometimes the most unexpected events can reshape our world in ways we never thought possible. As we approach the final stretch of this mystery, we must ask ourselves, what does this all mean for us? Tatsuki's dreams, while strange and unsettling, bring us face to face with something deeply human, our vulnerability. They remind us that no matter how advanced we become, how much we build, or how much we believe we control, we are ultimately at the mercy of nature's unpredictable forces. Tatsuki's re-release of The Future I Saw in 2023 wasn't just a chance for her to revisit her past. It was her attempt to warn the world. In her book, she documents not just the specific events she's witnessed through her dreams, but also the emotional turmoil that accompanied these visions. Each dream is a reflection of her own internal struggle, her fears and her acceptance that these things might come true. But unlike the stories of other so-called prophets, Tatsuki's dreams have already been proven to be remarkably accurate. This is what makes her story so chilling. When you look at the past predictions Tatsuki has made, each one coming true with startling precision, it's hard not to take her seriously. Her first glimpse into the future came when she was just a child. And over the years, her dreams evolved from simple sketches of people and places into detailed, complex scenes that matched real-world events. The death of Freddie Mercury, the car crash that took Princess Diana's life, the Kobe earthquake, each of these events was foretold by Tatsuki in what could only be described as a series of waking nightmares. But they weren't random. They were deliberate, hauntingly specific. And for Tatsuki, the most terrifying part wasn't just that they came true, but that she couldn't control them. They were visions she didn't ask for, yet they persisted, growing stronger and more urgent as time passed. In her most recent dream, she saw the sea, calm at first, before chaos erupted beneath the surface. Two massive dragons emerged from the depths, twisting around each other, followed by a massive eruption that sent a giant tsunami crashing into coastal cities. As the water receded, a new landmass slowly rose from the sea, something that could forever alter the geography of the Pacific region. For Tatsuki, this vision wasn't just an event to record. It was a warning, a plea for us to take notice before it's too late. The dream is vivid, detailed, and unsettling. But what's most significant is the timing, July 5th, 2025. It's a date that Tatsuki has carried with her for years. It's not just another dream. It's a ticking clock, one that many believe is counting down to a potentially world-altering event. Now, many will dismiss this prophecy as pure fiction or as the ramblings of someone who has seen too many natural disasters. Some will argue that it's simply a coincidence. But for those who have been following Tatsuki's work for decades, there's something more to it. Her visions aren't just random. They're connected to real patterns in the natural world. They align with geological phenomena, with tectonic activity, with the movements of the Earth's crust. Tatsuki's dreams aren't based on chance. They're grounded in a deeper understanding of the world around us, even if that understanding is not fully explained by science. The Pacific Ring of Fire is one of the most active seismic regions on Earth, and it's a place where new islands have been known to form due to volcanic eruptions. This isn't something new. The idea that land could rise from the ocean is scientifically possible, even if it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. However, It's not just the scientific explanation that makes Tatsuki's prophecy so chilling. It's the personal connection she has to these events. For her, these aren't just dreams. They're part of her life's journey. They're woven into the fabric of who she is. Her connection to the old man with silver hair, her companion in the dreams, symbolizes a deeper understanding of the future, one that she didn't ask for, but that she's been carrying with her for decades. The old man's presence in her dreams is comforting yet eerie, a constant reminder that the future is something we can never fully escape. What does all this mean for us? As we look to 2025, we're faced with a choice. We can dismiss Tatsuki's dreams as superstition, or we can take them as a call to action. If there's any truth to her visions, then we must prepare ourselves for the unexpected. We must be ready for the possibility that the world around us could change in an instant. And even if her prophecy never comes true, we can still learn from the lessons her dreams offer. In the end, Tatsuki's story isn't just about predicting the future. It's about facing the unknown with courage. It's about understanding that no matter how much we try to control our lives, there will always be forces beyond our understanding that shape our destiny. Her dreams remind us that we're all connected to something much larger than ourselves, something that we can't always predict or control. But if we approach the future with awareness, resilience, and a sense of unity, we can face whatever challenges come our way. So what do you think? Is Tatsuki's prophecy a genuine warning, or is it just the imagination of a woman who's lived with her visions for too long? Could the world truly change in 2025, as she predicts? Or is it all just a coincidence? Whatever the case, Tatsuki's story forces us to confront the unknown and ask ourselves, how would we react if the world were to change in an instant? As we wait for July 5th, 2025 to arrive, we're reminded that the future is never certain. The only thing we can truly count on is the present and the choices we make today. Whether or not Tatsuki's prophecy comes true, we must live with the awareness that our world is always shifting beneath our feet, and the future is something we cannot fully control.